Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to yet another episode on your favorite Little's Law YouTube channel. So, today we are going to talk about connection pooling. Yes, the database connection pooling. So, most of you must be wondering what is connection pooling and what it is doing, and some of you must know half of it, like you do not know what exactly it's doing. But people are talking, so we also will try to talk it, but let me explain you. Connection pooling is a technique which is used to manage and reuse database connections. So instead of opening and closing new connections every time an application needs to interact with the database, a pool of open active connections is maintained, and that is connection pooling. So instead of opening new connections and closing new connections, you are going to have a pool of open active connections. Next thing, how it works. The first part, which is creation. So when the application starts, the connection pool typically establish a set of minimum number of database connections. That's the creation part. When the request part comes in, so when the application needs to perform a database operation, it requests a connection from the pool. The usage part, the application uses the retrieved connection to execute its queries. And the release part, so once the operation is complete, the application releases the connection back to the pool instead of closing it. This connection, the connection that it is releases, is then available immediately for another request. That is the connection pooling, and that is how it works. So far we saw how does it work, right? So now we'll see why do we use connection pooling. So the main benefit of using connection pooling are the first part, which is the performance improvement. Yes, that's what we are struggling for, to improve the performance. So how do we improve, or how does the process work? So the process of establishing a new database connection, which involves network communication, the authentication, and the resource allocation, is often slow and resource intensive, which we all know. So by reusing these existing connections, the connection pooling drastically reduces this overhead, and it will lead to faster response times for the application. And when you are reducing the resource consumption, it prevents the database server from being overwhelmed by a large number of concurrent connection requests and manages the total number of open connections efficiently, which saves both the application and the database server resources. And then the connection management. So the pools can enforce a limit on the maximum number of connections, which prevents resource exhaustion on the database server. So they also often handle tasks like connection validation, which is checking if a connection is still valid before giving it out, and then the connection timeout. So doing all this, the connection pooling helps us to improve the performance of the application. So the essential part about connection pooling is it acts as a cache for database connection. So when I say cache, it makes the database access faster and more scalable for applications. So if you would like to know more about the key parameters which are used for connection pooling, such as minimum and maximum pool size, I will take you that in the next session. So don't forget to watch our next video, and don't forget to subscribe our Little's Law YouTube channel. Take care and bye-bye.